Our Computex 2018 coverage is brought to you by Seasonic and ASRock. Check them out in the links below. Welcome back, guys. We are here at the Thermaltake booth at Computex. It is day 4 and we have a few cases we want to check out here. We have the level 20 VT, level 20 XT, level 20 GT RGB, and of course the big boy which you have seen before, the level 20. I'm not going to cover too much on the level 20, you've seen this before. We'll have a quick look at that later on. So starting down the lower end of the scale, even myself, I didn't know that these actual cases were coming out. They've sort of extended the level 20 range to 4 cases in total, and we're sort of going up in sizes from your small, your medium, to your mid towers, and then to your sort of your super towers. So we'll have a look at the level 20 VT here. So this is basically an MATX chassis, and it can also take your MITX as well if you like. Taking a look at this, looking at airflow, you can see the front, it's not too bad on the front, it's got a little bit on the front there, but you can see they've gone for a real elegant feel on the front with the curved sides. It is sort of black and do have the grey effect as well. On the top you can see you've got the airflow up there, it is extended up there, and then same on the right hand side, it looks the same as the top with the extended sides there as well. Now for radiator support, you can fit either a 240 in the front or a 240 in the right hand side as well. But you can see in this configuration they've got a 240 on the right, and then they have the massive 200mm RGB fan on the front. Now for your front I/O, it is lacking the USB Type-C. Everyone's going to be asking that, but this case is they've left that out purely because of a price point scenario, and also for USB Type-C for your front panel headers. A lot of MATX boards don't even have that connector. I don't even think there's any MATX boards that have the external USB Type-C for your front panel. Now moving over to the slightly bigger level 20 XT. Now this is based on the familiar, the Core X9 chassis. You can see it's the layout where the motherboard sits flat. So if you do have a Core X9, you'll feel very at home with this chassis. You've got options to put a radiator on each side down the bottom, so you can alternate it with the power supply and swap them out. Now this one does have a 420mm radiator down the bottom, and you can swap that for a 360 if you like. And then on the front, we have an option for the a 360 radiator to go on the front, but as you can see in this configuration, it does have the 200mm fans in the front. Now looking at the top, now this one doesn't have the rails installed, but I have been told that it's got 1 rail installed. I have been told that there are 2 rails that do come with the chassis, and you can go sort of nuts there. You can have 360s, 420s, and the one in this system is a gigantic, I guess you would call this a 400mm with the 200mm fans installed. Now looking at I/O for this one, for the front, now this one does have the USB Type-C, and then it's got everything else, your USB 3, USB 2.0, and so on. Now moving on to a more sort of standard form factor over here, this is the level 20 GT. You can sort of see this is the internal chassis on this one is based off the sort of the newest View 71. It's got that side mounted radiator. I'll just see if we can open this door. It's probably locked. Yeah, it's locked. I've got some B-roll we can throw on that. But some interesting things in this chassis, we do have the adjustable pump res mount down the bottom. It does slide left and right, so you can sort of have a bit more flexibility with your pump and res mounts there. Now the power supply cover is removable. I do like that option. It does give you the flexibility to install your system in your chassis, and then you can throw the power supply cover on at the end instead of having to work your way around it while doing your build. And then lastly on this one, we do have the vertical GPU mount. Now you may see that this is a little bit different. This one is built into your standard PCIe bracket, and it's pushed way back towards the motherboard. This would be a lot better for you guys doing air-cooled GPU builds, because you'll have a lot of room between your side panel and your video card. Radiator support in this one is pretty standard. You've got a 360 on the side, 360 on the front, and then up the top you've got a 360. Plenty of room up there as well. In terms of front I/O and this chassis, this one's kind of interesting. We've got it on both sides. On the front, on the left side, you've got your audio and your power button there, and then on the other side, around here, this is where you've got a whole heap of bunch of USB, and then you have your USB Type-C as well. And looking at front ventilation on this one, you can see it is going to be a little bit tight. You can just see the little holes on each side, all the little slits on each side. Right, now taking a look at the level 20, we've seen this quite a few. We covered this last Computex. It's also been at CES this year, but the main sort of change on this chassis I want to cover is the inclusion of the USB Type-C up the top. Everyone was asking about it. and the guys at Thermaltake have thrown this in for you. And I think they may have changed the light to white, which is good. A lot of people want white lights instead of like a blue or a red power light. But if you're not familiar with this chassis, this is just simply a 3-chamber design. You have your main components over here. You've got sort of a front chamber for your rads and pump and so on, and then up the top you have for your power supply, so it completely isolates all your components. Alrighty guys, just one little thing I came across here. It's actually pretty cool with this whole TT ecosystem. I'm going to say a few little things in this Alexa device here, and then we'll see what we can change these fans up on the wall. You can see. Alexa, tell Thermaltake.
Hi, I am Thermaltake. Say command.
What is the weather in Brisbane?
The weather is raining in Brisbane.
Okay, so as you can see, the weather is raining. Now all the fans have gone to blue. So if it's sunny, it goes to yellow and so on. I'm not sure all the patterns. I think if it's sunny, it does a bit of blue for the blue sky and so on. Now I'll change one of the modes back to what it was before. Alexa, tell Thermaltake.
Hi, I am Thermaltake. Say command.
Change to wave mode.
Wave.
So yeah, you can see how cool this really is. Now this is still in like beta testing, but once they fully implement this, if you've got one of these Alexa devices or the Google Home, you can fully control your whole Thermaltake lighting ecosystem, which is really cool. Now the last case I want to check out over here is something brand new from Thermaltake. This is the A500. You may be wondering, well, what this material is on the front. This is all aluminium on the top, and then it curves around to the front, and it's got quite a nice elegant feel to the whole sort of overall system. You can see down the bottom the aluminium even sort of goes along the feet and around to the back, so it is a nice looking case. It has a nice feel to it. It does have a nice tempered glass side panel that swings open, and it is sort of blacked out on the sides, and it's got this little cool little lock as well that locks, and then it's got a little bit inside here for you to grip to open up the chassis. In terms of support inside, you'll be able to fit a 360 in the front, and then you'll be able to fit a 360 up the top. So some decent radiator support in there. And then of course we do have a power supply shroud. This does look like a new shroud from Thermaltake, and it does have your cutout to see your power supply. In terms of airflow, it shouldn't be too bad. It's not going to be the world's best case for airflow. It doesn't have any direct front airflow. It just gets it from the side, as you can see here. And same with the top, it gets it along the top as well. And now for front or top I/O, we have a heap of USB, and then it's your standard power. But there is no USB Type-C. I'm pretty sure the guys will put that in later. I'll give some feedback about that to add the USB Type-C, because every time I post a video and a case doesn't have USB Type-C, everyone wants it in there on the top of their chassis or on the front. And then we have an option for a vertical GPU. Now the only issue I see with this is a little bit close to the side panel when you close it. So really, if you are going vertical option for this GPU, it will be best to water cool it. But yeah, anyway, that's it from the Thermaltake booth. I just wanted to cover those new chassis. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more Computex videos.